that indeed for development, for progress, and for prosperity, the only and the choicest candidate for Atrimampunia should be Honorable Seto Sakoto, so that he can become the parliamentary candidate and inshallah the member of parliament for Atrimampunia, so that he can spearhead the development that the people of the constituency needs. And finally, to Bantana Asenso Boakye. The Honorable Asenso Boakye is, for me, a development agent. As an MP for just 4 years in the constituency, the kinds of delivery and accomplishments that these young politicians have chalked in the constituency is overwhelming. If you want to talk of roads, if you want to talk of logistics, or our hospitals, our schools, if you want to talk of infrastructure, if you want to talk about scholarship opportunities, if you want to talk about job creation, that the constituents of Bantama have benefited from this honorable gentleman. It tells you that indeed there are people who come into politics just to help the constituents. He's not the kind who will hoard his money and then wait for primaries. No, he doesn't do that. He ensures that whatever thing that God gives him, he deploys it to the benefits of the constituents. So let me say good morning to Honorable Asenso Boakye. And inshallah, he will still be retained as the parliamentary candidate and, of course, the member of parliament come 2025 and beyond. Afa, thank you very much.
Okay. Let's now get into the conversation. I'm sure you were following the conversation before you came. There's this issue about Dumso and John Dramani Mahama. It appears for the MPP, you want us to believe that Dumso was created by former President John Dramani Mahama, and so he must own the legacy, and he must squarely be blamed for it. There are people who still say, in election 2024, Mahama will have to answer the question about his legacy when it comes to Dumso, and to assure the people whether or not, if voted into office, we will not also have to go through another crisis, maybe similar to this or a different kind of crisis. Is it a view you hold? Do you think they have evidence to suggest that this problem was created by him and that he should still carry the cross when it comes to Dumso conversation?
Thank you very much, my brother. And I will try to be dispassionate about this discussion. I don't want to get passionate because I believe there were a lot of, I don't want to call them lies. I am that person who don't really take swipes at people. I try to be gentle in my dealings with commentators. But I think that Susu did a very bad job.
He did a bad job.
And a very huge disservice to the people of Ghana and the people of the Kumasi metropolis.
Why do you say so?
Listening to us. Mm-hmm. He put on record several erroneous figures. And I don't know, but this is a technical matter. So, of course, if you don't understand, that is appreciable. But I want to believe that if a topic comes and you really want to make a point, it's incumbent on you to do a little bit of research.
He did his research.
So that
he found his facts and data. You can disagree with him.
I feel scandalized that was the result of the research that he did. A lot of the figures that you were throwing up is not true.
Which
in fact, if I even want you to help me so that we deal with it. Google 2016, Ghana's install capacity, and then Ghana's peak demand. We have always had more install capacity than peak demand. And peak demand is when every light, every gadget that is supposed to be on is on. Ghana install capacity in 2016 was around 3,700. Our peak demand was around 2,500. So most often than not, in terms of having the install capacity at every point in time, we have had more than our peak demand. If you listen to Abena was trying to make the point that there's the install capacity argument of the equation, and then there's the generation capacity. And I think that you summed it up to be one aspect. No. So the power sector is multifaceted. First is the install capacity. You need to have the capacity. And then you also need to be in a position to generate the electricity. And that was what he was talking about, the generation. It's different from the install capacity.
Okay.
And then you have to do with the transmission. And the transmission is equally distribution. Transmission is distribution. So you have to have the install capacity. You need to have the requisite resources to power the install capacity to be able to generate the light. So it's just like having a console before you. You need to have the electricity. You need to have Alpha sitting behind it and be pushing the keys. That is the generation. So you can have a generator at home. If you're not buying petrol, you're not generating anything. I don't know if I get the argument that I'm making.
I'm listening.
So the generation is the operationalization of your installed capacity. And I'm making the point that Ghana had more installed capacity at every given point in time than our peak demands.
Okay.
So the issue had never been about installed capacity. Yes, I am for situation when if you are doing a futuristic planning, you need to have more installed capacity. No two ways about it. That is okay. But the question had been that, are you able to generate the light? Are you able to buy the gas, the huge fuel to power the thermals? Are you able to generate the light? That is the most important question. And that is what we have said that Mahama failed in that. What he needed to do from 2013 to 2016 was to generate the light because the capacity was there. But if you have a president who is so much embedded in corruption, so much rot, so much evil, and he goes globe-trotting looking for, yeah, of course, goes globe-trotting looking for sultans and Arabian kingpins just so that he can bring him more power purchase agreements. That for me is evil because that was not a problem.
That our problem was never capacity.
It was never about capacity. I am not saying that government don't need to make investment in capacity, but hugely, it was not capacity.
Okay.
It was about the generation and the transmission. That was where the whole class of the Doomsaw episode was hanging on.
Okay.
Alpha, why would anybody want to tell me that you come to Orange FM and if you want to find out the problem of Orange FM, you have to go and buy an additional console and come and put it here? Why? What you need to do is to get an Alpha, a Rahim, an Abena, and pay them well for them to come and push the machine because you only need a particular console. You don't need more. So if you end up buying more microphones, buying more consoles, buying more computers, because you think that Orange FM is not making the mark that it ought to make in the media landscape, you are not doing a reasonable investment.
The fact that he establishes is that Doomsaw started not under Mahama. In 2007, we dealt with some level of Doomsaw. We dealt with some level of Doomsaw under Mills, and then under John Mahama. He makes the argument that the capacity that we required to be able to provide electricity for people demanding for electricity at the time, if you look at our ability, what we were producing, and what was being demanded for, there was a shortage, and there was a deficit. So, and in fact, the reason why we do Doomsaw is just like doing a schedule to say, okay, at this point now, these people will get power, these people will not get power. It's because we don't have enough power to distribute.
I am saying that today, challenge me.
For which reason?
Google 2016. If our peak demand is more than our installed capacity by then, I will stop communicating for the party. That is the challenge that I'm putting.
Okay, I will do that.
I'm telling you this, and I'm making all these arguments. I'm saying that at every point in time.
So it has never been about our capacity.
No, the problem has been about generation. The problem, the main cause of the problem. Of course, for future plan, you need to have more installed capacity.
Okay.
And I'll come to that argument. But I'm saying that the problem during the 2013 to 2016, from about 2012 or so to 2016, was about generation. It was about the money to buy the gas and to pay Nigerian gas so that they can supply the gas for you to power your thermals. It was about generating the power because the generators were there. It's just like going to buy a generator at home. If you don't buy petrol and put it into the generator, if you don't have a man going to pull the plugs for the generator to be on, you will not have light. So if somebody tells me that the only thing that is needed is to get more generators, that person doesn't understand economics, the economics of energy. You see, I felt scandalized by the statement that he made that so he purchased more power purchase agreement and it was a futuristic thing. What's futuristic? Who will own a gas when he's yet even to plant the cassava and the plantain for the fufu? Who will own the gas? So he's telling me that Muhammad decided to go to the kitchen, put on the gas, the stove, and the blaze was on. But the farmer was here to go and plant the plantain. And we were waiting for the farmer to plant the plantain, for the plantain to grow, and for the plantain to be harvested, for the plantain to be peeled before we put it on the fire. Meanwhile, Muhammad had on the gas already. Is that how we plan for an economy? That for you, you think that it is important that for you to get the installed capacities over and over again, go globe trotting. Everybody who had a generator, this man was purchasing. And look at the deals that he signed there.
We'll come to the deal aspect. Relax. We'll come to the deal aspect.
I'm coming. So finishing, I want to put it across that in the energy matrix,
Yes.
it is only not about having installed capacity. It's about you having the money to operationalize your installed capacity.
Okay.
It's about you working on your line so that you can have less transmission losses. And majority of the problem that Ghana was going through during the Doomsday era was about transmission losses. Because we didn't have the box stations, we didn't have modern lines on our lines. So when the power gets transmitted from where the installed capacity is to the end user, then it gradually loses out. So you can have, let's say, 330 volts transmitting from Atuabo. By the time it gets to Kumasi, it has reduced to about
I
200.
found something on.
Then again, finishing. Let me make this point before I end. If anybody tells me that as part of Mohammed's agenda to solve Doomsday, he built Atuabo gas, let me tell that person is a liar.
He didn't.
He mentioned Atuabo gas that as part of problem solving Doomsday, Muhammad built Atuabo gas. Google Atuabo gas. The last time we came and sat here and then did that. Atuabo gas started in 2011.
Okay.
Mama had absolutely nothing to do with it. Now today you are taking heritage for the old prophet and you are giving it to Muhammad. What is this?
So it's not Mohammed's. But Muhammad was the vice president.
I'm not saying he wasn't.
So you are saying okay.
No, I am not saying he was. If you say that he's solving doom, so Muhammad built Atuabo gas, then you are not being honest with the Ghanaian. Because Atuabo gas was built by Professor Mills. And that time we had very little doom.
When did we complete the building of Atuabo?
Around 2016.
So it means both of them contribute.
I am not saying that they did not.
So it is not entirely untrue to say that Muhammad built.
No, but you are saying that in solving Doomsday, when Muhammad was president, that was when we went through a very inimical period of Doomsday. And you are saying that in solving Doomsday during that time, Muhammad built Atuabo, and I'm saying that time Atuabo had already started. And was started by Professor Mills. Let's give credit to where credit is due. That's
I'll come back to you, but let me go to Fuga. Fuga, take 6 or 7 minutes to address this issue. Do you think still Muhammad will have
we
to
need to come back to this topic? It's very important.
It is very important. Maybe we will have to deal with it for, I don't know, it depends. Do you think he still your candidate still has a question to answer? There are people who have doubt in their minds that Muhammad, because of what we dealt with regards to Doomsday, they are not too sure he's the man for the job. They doubt his competence. Let me hear you.
Alpha, first of all, let me say good morning to you, my brother Archibald, whom I'm very, very disappointed in this morning. And let me say wonderful greetings to His Excellency, the incoming President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. You know, he's currently embarking on his tour, the Build the Ghana We Want tour, and is currently in the Western North region, where he is still taking the ideas from the grassroots, the very people that because of them we want to form government. I keep on saying that nobody can be independent when it comes to trying to solve the problems of an economy. What you need to do is go down to the people and then get the first-hand information from them. And then you add to whatever you know already. And that is why he's bringing the 24-hour economic policy, the 3-shift system policy that is going to industrialize Ghana, that is going to increase productivity, that is going to make sure that our fundamentals are strong, and ultimately, that is going to solve our huge unemployment rate that is currently rising in Ghana. So if you are listening to me this morning and you have lost hope in this reckless, useless, hopeless government led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, we are telling you that the experienced John Dramani Mahama, the nation builder John Dramani Mahama, the one who thinks about generations, he's coming back to salvage this economy from this mess, deep mess that we currently find our economic situations in.
Okay.
Alva, all said and done about the greetings. Ashanti regional executives are going to embark on 24-hour economy sensitization work this weekend, next week Tuesday. We are inviting everybody to come and join us to sensitize, to let Asante man be abreast with the meaning of a 24-hour economic policy, a 3-shift economic policy, a policy that is going to transform this economy. So I'm inviting Orange FM and all your ardent listeners to join us in the morning. I will share the details of the program with you. On the energy bit, that's the crux of the discussions this morning. I think your callers have even educated us more, majority of your callers. And I'm surprised that somebody used the word nuisance. You actually...
I think I didn't really...
Yes, but you actually made mention that if you said nuisance, then it is unfortunate, right? But you have Archibald sitting here describing our incoming president as evil, and you let that pass. However, I think
you have said useless.
No, it is because of him disassociating himself from the word nuisance.
Okay, I take note of
that. Is why I am surprised.
I take note of
that you will let your word evil
but
pass, because when we say a word is evil,
and useless is
evil is somebody that under his watch 8 Ghanaians will be killed, blood will be shed on his hands, and he has nothing to do about it. That is how we can describe a person who is evil. Tell me, under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, if a single soul was lost.
A lot of people died.
During an election that he was supervised and head of. So the word evil, if you are talking about the word evil, it is associated with Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo,
Okay.
the Nebuchadnezzar of our time. He is the one that has supervised the killing of Ghanaians. He is the one that has supervised the collapse, deliberate collapse, a policy to collapse businesses in the financial sector. That is what we mean by someone who is evil. Now, on the issue of generation capacity and generation and all that, please, I think for us to be having this discussion this morning, I'm even surprised. It tells me that you, the journalist, should set the record straight, because you have the facts and figures. You also do your independent research, right? And you're able to come to a conclusion that, okay, this problem was solved by Doomso. And today I'm very happy with you. You know what? You took your time to explain what Doomso means, because Doomso is just a timetable that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama introduced because of lack of generation capacity. Because all what we know is that when industries are increasing, when the economy is growing, when you have the agri sector growing, when you have the manufacturing industry growing, it means that the demand for energy is going to increase. So when you go back to Rawlings' time, there was a policy that Rawlings introduced for us to add a generation capacity of about 60 megawatt every year annually. And if you look at history, even Rawlings himself failed to add those generation capacity because he realized that the industries were growing. So when Kufuor came, there was still energy crisis, power crisis. What did Kufuor do? The first thing he did was that what he was explaining, the capacity of Akosombo was almost about 1,000 megawatts, but it was producing less than 600 megawatts or 700 megawatts. So it means that the capacity of Akosombo was not up to its fullest, okay? Because
it wasn't producing at the optimum level.
At the optimum level. So that's the difference between the generation and then the capacity, okay? So the installed capacity.
It fits into his argument.
So I'm explaining it. Why that could not have solved the problem.
Okay.
You see, we cannot mislead our listeners every day. So I'm taking Akosombo as a typical example. So it couldn't operate to its fullest, one, because at times the water level was at its minimum level. Yeah. You understand? So what Kufuor did was that he took pastors, reverend ministers to Akosombo to pray that the level of the water would rise. And then two, he did what we call the retrofitting of Akosombo, where the generation capacity, because of the retrofitting, increased from the 700 megawatt to somewhere around 900 megawatts. Because he needed Akosombo to be efficient, you understand. So that is what Kufuor did. John Mahama came. He said, no, this problem have been persistent for so many years, since Rawlings' regime, since Ataman's regime, since even Kufuor's regime. So I am going to put a stop to Dumso. I'm going to put a stop to the crisis. So he introduced something we call Dumso, which is a timetable. Please, when you are listening to me, listen to me carefully this morning. Dumso was a timetable for John Dramani Mahama to solve our crisis. So what he did was that he intentionally introduced this timetable. So if Asafo people have a light this morning, and inside estate people will not have this, will not have a light, and it helped Ghanaians to plan their daily activities. I met one barbering shop guy, Osim Fuga. Even under Dumso, I was able to buy generator and make profit, buy fuel and make profit. But today, the shop that I even own to operate as a barbering salon have been taken from me. You understand? So John Dramani Mahama's style of solving Dumbo was much less. It was something that you and I, Alpha, we need to commend this man, this visionary leader. And at the end of the day, when he introduced the timetable, what did he do? He said, no, we have a problem with generational capacity. Because even Akosombo has been retrofitted by Omanpenyi Kufuor. They even introduced this Buidam, which NDC came to complete. And all of them were hydro. If we talk about hydro, it means that most of our generation capacity depended on water. So Jomama said, no, we have gas. Why are we still importing gas from outside Ghana, Nigeria, to power our plants and our distance? So what we can do is that let us introduce another generation capacity which is not dependent on water. And that's when Jomama started bringing in the Ameri. He says that Ataman started at Trouble Gas. Fantastic. He is an NDC person. So we will not take that credit from Ataman. But John Dramani Mahama made sure that his boss and his former president, John Sylvester Ataman, whatever he started, he completed.
But
so what I'm saying is that, please let me flow. So what I'm saying is that
you're speaking within time, so I have to check.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that when John Mahama came, he completed our Trouble Gas. Today, let me ask you, how many employment is being created by our Trouble Gas? Over thousands direct and indirect jobs. At the same time, it is saving Ghana $250 million every year from importing gas. John Mahama never stopped there. He created what we call the ESLA. Because there were some legacy debt that Kufuor had bequeathed to John Dramani Mahama that was not helping government to pay his debt. So John Mahama created the ESLA fund, where the monies that we're getting from taxes, we put some in ESLA so that we could be using that one to service our debt. That is what visionary leaders do. When he did the ESLA, these people came. You remember they spoke against ESLA. When they came to increase ESLA, and even formed ESLA PLC. As I'm talking to you this morning, ESLA PLC has been collateralized. They have taken money to be paid in 20 years. And you come and sit here and then tell me that Ekufuado and MPP have solved them. So without apology,
I'm not too sure
let us give respect to Ghanaians, to the sensibility of Ghanaians. Let us not insult the intelligence of Ghanaians.
We'll come back and
now let me tell you how the PDS came about. I'm wrapping up. If we had time, I would have narrated how
the ESLA PLC. We'll come back around too. So let me
the
take
ESLA
this.
PLC led to the giving birth of PDS for them to even steal ECG from us as a country.
We'll take some message. When we return, we'll do a second part of this conversation. But if you are listening to me and if you want to contribute, you can send your WhatsApp messages on 0548 501584. Stay with me.
We are all big football fans, but there are some other sports that I'm personally a fan of, like tennis and basketball. Luckily, Betway Mobile and online sports betting has introduced sports, casino games, bet games, and more on their platform for us to bet on. From football to roulette to esports to horse racing. Now, we can bet, win, and get paid instantly via mobile money or EFT to your bank. Visit www.betway.com.gh to play today. Remember, bet responsibly, no under 18. Betway, for the love of the game. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. We are all big football fans, but there are some other sports that I'm personally a fan of, like tennis and basketball. Luckily, Betway mobile and online sports betting has introduced sports, casino games, bet games, and more on their platform for us to bet on. From football to roulette to esports to horse racing. Now, we can bet, win, and get paid instantly via mobile money or EFT to your bank. Visit www.betway.com.gh to play today. Remember, bet responsibly, no under 18. Betway, for the love of the game. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana.
Are you tired of struggling with bad financial situations? At Quick Credit, we understand the difficulties that come with transitioning to a better one. That's why we're here to simplify the process for you. With loan facilities of 1,000 cedis and upwards, all you have to do is call and we will take care of the rest. All you need is your national ID. No savings, no collateral, no susu, no deposits, and no account opening required. Quick Credit has you covered. Whether you're expanding a business, starting a new one, facing
So it's 33 minutes after 9. You're still listening to the Orange Service, Orange 107.9. Actually,
yes, sir.
You've listened to the argument by Mr. Fuga. He believes that, it cannot be correct that we can blame squarely John Mahama for doom. So he said he inherited it, and he has given us examples as far back as 2007, and the approach that was used by John Kufuor's administration to dealing with it. He said the visionary approach was for John Dramani Mahama to build or complete Atuabo gas plant, was to also buy some of the Kappa, Ameri, and then the one from Turkey. Okay, yeah. Yes. So that's the visionary approach to dealing with Dumso. So, there's no way you can blame the man for the Dumso situation. Just that we need to praise him for the bold approach he used in dealing with it.
It is very scandalous for you to have a communicator who will come and sit on your big network and insult Ghanaians to that extent. Yes, it was an insult. It was an insult for him to have said that this approach, when you commit a nation's hands to paying billions of dollars of power they are not consuming, is visionary.
So we have excess capacity.
Can I make my point? That is
I'm just
a big insult. Okay. That you commit a nation's hands to paying billions of power that you're not consuming. My mother who is listening to me, my uncle who is listening to me, what Joshua Fuga is telling us that Mahama told you to on your light, on your fan, on your television, go to work, travel to some other place, spend 2 weeks, but leave your lights on and and pay for electricity. That is what he's telling me. That's what it means. He brought in this power purchase agreement. We were paying when we were even not needing it. And I've told you that when you have a peak demand of around 2,500 or 3,000, and you decide to raise our installed capacity to 11,000, what are we doing with it? What in God's name are we doing with it? At
the time, they said they could even, sell power.
But I'm asking you, look, this is Ghana. And it's Ghana who is paying.
Yes, we are paying.
And I'm saying that if you have your needed demand to be 3,000, why would, in God's name, would anybody want to raise it to 11,000?
According to him, so that we will not have to deal with Dumso again.
So I'm asking
for a very long time.
No, but I'm asking you, that why do you have to on the light today when you would be needing it in, let's say, 2 weeks' time? Why don't you do it a gradualistic approach? Why don't you raise it to, say, 4,000 installed capacity or 5,000, so that when the demand increases, then you can go and purchase these things or can bring in these additional, additional capacity. Because you see, every capacity that you bring, you commit the nation's hands to it.
Of course.
It is not free. It is not like it is there, so we are not paying, and then for that matter,
whether or not you use it.
Yes. But you see, if there are financial commitment, then why would you want to do it today? Why would we need it in, say, 3 years' time? Why?
Futuristic.
No, but futuristic is when you are planning and you are staggering your progress. Okay? And that's why I've told you that nobody owns his or her gas before he goes to plant the cassava stick or the plantain and then work on the farm and wait for it to be harvested.
The approach you used was wrong.
I am coming there. That's what I'm telling you, that look, if you want to work and solve Dumso, and frankly, the lies that they always put forward is that we have had Dumso all this while. No, we have never had Dumso. We have had intermittent power supply. We have had challenges with power supply. We have had our lives going off. Dumso became popularized. Dumso became inimical during John Dramani Mahama's era. It was an outstanding Dumso that we encountered during his era. So Dumso is his legacy. Let nobody try and share it among governments. What we have encountered under Kufuor, under Rawlings, even under Nana Kufuor, are intermittent power supply. What we refer to as Dumsi because we work on the lights. But if you have a system where workers would have to call home and ask for light, if you have a system when KJTR and Asaf women had to take poison because their businesses were collapsing and they couldn't afford to pay their loans, that is different. And that's the point I'm making. Again, I have said that the energy sector is a whole matrix. It's a whole matrix. You need to have the installed capacity, like I said. You need to generate the light. You need to operationalize your installed capacity. And then you need to transmit the power that you have generated from the point of generation to the end user. When we came in, we realized that the problem was not really about installed capacity, but it was about buying the fuel to power the gensets. In 2017, April, Nana Akufo had to go to Nigeria to negotiate with Buhari to pay $100 million before Nigeria Gas released gas to Ghana. And that is what made us get the light that we are having. You needed to have the money to power the gensets to generate the electricity. Again, you needed to work on your lines and your box stations so that when you are transmitting the power from the point of generation to the end user, you wouldn't have what we call the generational or the transmission losses. So what we did was that we invested hugely in the transmission arena of the energy mix. We built the Pokwase bulk supply point. That is a $47 million investment.
Please wrap up for me. Yes.
We built the Kasua bulk supply point. That is a $50 million investment. You saw people on lines with some machines on our Ghanaian lines making changes on our lines. That is what we call making sure that Dumso has ended. And so we worked on the transmissions. We worked on ensuring that we had the requisite fuel to generate the electricity. Again, I feel scandalized when they talk of we not selling the power that we claim was in excess to the neighboring countries. We did the negotiations. I was part of a committee that met at Podiasi to do these deals. No nation was interested. Consider the energy pricing of Ghana comparable to our neighbors around West Africa. On the sub-region, price per unit of energy was 12 cents. John Dramani Mahama's deal that he signed was 18 to 22 cents per vote.
I'll come back to you.
I'm finishing.
Please, in 30 seconds.
Yes. So finishing. Even when you go to do these negotiations, they are telling you that Ghana's power mix is so expensive. And that's how come the World Bank country director had to make that painful statement that it was during John Dramani Mahama's era in the history of the Republic, in the history of the world, that a government would evilly place the nation's hands in a very scandalous contract that is costing this nation over $1 billion for power we are not consuming. You know how much $1 billion could do for this republic? And Mahama is asking Ghana to give it to his friends and competitors.
I'll come back to you. Mr. Buga, let me hear.
Well, I think this morning your listeners can be the best judge for themselves.
In fact, we'll give us some time to judge. They have listened to the debate.
They have. If you sit here and you tell me that John Dramani Mahama never solved Dumso, I'll be scandalized. Use his own words. I'll be scandalized because it shows how dishonest you are as a Ghanaian first, and secondly as an NPP communicator. You sit here, you are not able to mention one single megawatt that Nana Danko Kufuor. No, you had your time. Please let me speak. You had your time. You have never done that. When you came, what you tried to do was to go and renegotiate for the American deal that John Dramani Mahama brought.
Don't worry.
And that renegotiation led to the sacking of the energy minister at that time, Boache Jaco. And the president came to tell us incompetently, ignorantly, told us that he was misled in signing an agreement that was going to rip off with the Ghanaians. Today, if they are saying that the problem is not excess capacity, Why don't they just cancel this Ameri contract and let them? Because Ameri was ready.
You signed those.
Sorry. You say what?
It comes with a lot of.
No.
Cancel.
In the renegotiation before the renewal, in fact, Ameri was ready to abrogate the contract because of the new pricing that they were giving them.
That is not
It
true.
is very true.
It's not true.
You understand? Ameri was ready.
It's not true.
Even as we are speaking today, Asogli plant has even threatened to stop producing power.
Yes, I think they have.
You understand?
I think, yes.
And these are serious matters. Because if Asogli, because right now we are actually experiencing this morning when I was coming, if you check my suit, I was even lucky that I had already ironed it.
No.
They had off my light before I was coming. You see, there is a problem. Your callers will even witness that as we are speaking, there's
I think yes, we are experiencing something like that.
I don't want to call it doomsday because doomsday was a timetable that we brought.
This one
because
is it doomsday?
Well, it depends on them.
Yeah.
It means that our generation plans are not working to its full capacity as we are speaking. Look, we talk about producing power, but accessibility is very important. Can you believe that as we are speaking, there are parts of Kumasi here, Ashanti region here, that don't have light?
Ashanti region.
Not
region.
Ashanti. Even my constituency, I'm coming. Even my constituency, I went to an area, I was surprised. Oforikom constituency.
Are you sure?
I'm telling you, Oforikom constituency, they don't have lights over there. You understand? So when we talk about expansion of light, these guys have nothing to their credit, because at the end of the day, if you go to Dujama, I also went to Dujama to go and work there as a regional officer. My brother, there are parts of Dujama that does not have access to electricity, and you guys yet you have a member of parliament over there. So if you're in Dujama and you're listening to me this time around, you are voting against the member of parliament and another Blanco Gufuado because and Dr. Mamu Baumia, because they don't care about when it comes to you having access to light. You understand? So all what we are trying to say is that John Mahama has solved the generation capacity problem. I was going to talk about the ESLA PLC, because obviously there are legacy debt that John Mahama came to inherit. Kufuor bequeathed to John Mahama a legacy debt from the energy sector, even the Euro bond that he also entered into. You remember the sinking fund. John Mahama created the sinking fund. He created the ESLA fund to cater for all these debt that Kufuor had bequeathed to him. These guys have come. They have converted ESLA into ESLA PLC. And ESLA PLC, and that's the main problem why they cannot pay these IPPs currently and Asogli, because the fund that was created to be catering for the payment of these independent power producers like Asogli, they have converted ESLA into ESLA PLC and collateralized ESLA PLC, taking the money, spend the money with Cecilia Dapai and co. And today they cannot pay these people like Asogli. And that is why we are experiencing some of these challenges. You go and turn around and come and tell us that it is a funding issue. Meanwhile, John Mahama created this ESLA fund to solve our problem once and for all. But you have come, converted into ESLA PLC, collateralized ESLA PLC. Today, the money that are supposed to be used to pay these power producers like Asogli, which currently issued a letter and they have stopped producing, and that is why we are experiencing all this power crisis. It's because ESLA PLC has been collateralized. They have taken the money and have chopped the money just like that. So these are the calls that we have to make on government, that where are the receivables from the ESLA PLC that they took? They took almost about $10 billion. They took almost about $500 million from the ESLA PLC for 20 years. 20 years, where would Dr. Mamu Babia be? 20 years, where would Nana Ekufuado be? I believe by that time the Almighty God would have even called him. You understand? So you don't do things that your great grandchildren will come and suffer.
Let me go to Archie for his concluding remarks before we go to our friends. Our friends have been listening for a very long time. So this morning, you've listened to let me listen to the concluding remarks.
$2.5 billion, actually.
Archie.
You see, I feel scandalized when anybody
The number of times you guys have
an argument.
That is when
In dealing with the energy situation, his only argument is the install capacity. I have sat here and I've explained that you may have the capacity, you need to have the funds to buy the heavy fuel, the gas to power
I
the
said
gens.
that was solved under
I'm
Joe
coming.
Mahama.
It was not. I'm coming there.
Oh no, but the
Really?
situation improved under Mahama didn't
No.
it? Before he left office.
I said it
I am
was
saying
solved,
that even in
not improved.
2017, the beginning of 2017, we're having Dunso's
Are you
challenge.
sure?
Oh,
I just told you that in
You are talking
April,
about Esla.
oh,
we
please.
are talking about Esla.
Oh, can I finish?
How much was in Esla when they came to office?
let
You
him-
ask
let
him.
him-
I just
let him
told
make
you.
it.
No, ask him how much was in Esla when they came.
I just told
ask
you-
him.
Make up.
I just told you that even in April 2017, at the early time of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government, he had to go to Nigeria to renegotiate with Buhari so that they will release the gas. You can have the machines all right. You can have a generator in your house. If you're not buying the petrol to power them.
That is the funding we are talking about.
Can I make my point?
And that's the Esla we are
Can
talking
I make
about.
my point, my brother?
Hey.
I'll come there. Don't interject me. I'll come there. If you don't have the money to go and buy the petrol, the gas, the fuel to power these gens, you're not doing anything. Again, I have said that if you don't work on your lines, if you don't build the bulk stations so that they can do re-engineering from the point of generation to the point of the end user, you will generate the power that, but it will not get to the end user. And that is what we did. He is talking about Esra and he's quoting 500 million. I am telling you, I am putting this on
It's
record.
$2.5 billion.
Take
Sorry.
this from me. Take this from me,
Oh,
Ashibo.
Please let
I
me
am
clarify
saying
that.
the
$2.5
amount
billion.
that we pay
$2.5 billion.
To John Dramani Mahama's friends who brought in the power purchase agreement is $1 billion a year.
Do you
$1
know
billion.
any of his friends that is benefiting from it?
Are you not aware of stories where you went to?
No, mention one.
UAE and met that Sultan? You're not aware of that story?
Sultan.
Yes.
What's his name?
So that Arabian campaign, who went with him negotiating all these deals across the globe? You are not aware of that?
Which power agreement was that?
Please, can I
Which
finish?
power agreement
Can
was
I
that?
make my point?
Let
Can I
him,
make
let
my
him.
point?
No, you cannot sit here and then generalize a
relax.
statement and let him go scot free.
This
This is a platform for records.
No, relax. You have said
Everything
something.
I've said, I have
Relax.
provided you evidence.
Relax.
The $500 million I said is actually 2.5.
Records or no?
I'm coming.
You
It's actually 2.5 billion.
So your mics are off. He's on the floor. Please let him make his point. When he's done, you have said something that he will construe as lies. And that's why I give both of you opportunities to rebut. If you get the opportunity, say it. I can't do your job for you, my brother. You are here to defend your part. No. So that is why I will give. That is why you have. No, relax. Your mic is off. Let him make his point. Achi, yes, I'm listening. Wrap up for me.
So what I'm saying is this: that the energy mess is not only about stock capacity. When you make that argument, you're not getting it right. I'm coming. Let me finish.
That point you've
so
made it.
you needed to work on your.
But he challenged you. How many megawatts have you added?
Yes. I'm coming. I was coming there. But
use that to wrap up.
you didn't let me make my point. But on our install capacity, what we have done is that we are trying to diversify the energy mix. So we are. Oh, please let me make my point. Initially, it has been hydro and thermal, and I listened to him make argument of Bui Dam. Bui Dam was not their legacy. I'm surprised that he saw.
They said they completed it.
So it means that it was started by Kufuor. That is an MPP legacy.
He acknowledged that.
Nobody can dispute it. Just like Atwabu was started by Mills. When we came in, we wanted to diversify the energy mix so that if the thermal and the hydro is not working, we can have other ways of generating power coming into the energy.
And that was done by who?
Oh, please. So we introduced the solar and the nuclear. For the solar, when you go to Bui, we are working on when you go to Paralugu, yes, but the Paralugu, we are doing a hydro and a solar hybrid, and that is 50 megawatts of power.
Are you
Again,
now doing?
you are
or
doing.
You've added.
No, we
Have you
have done 45. We have had 45.
You've
we have
already
not completed.
done-
Yes, we have
yet
done
to
45.
complete.
Yes, we are yet to
So-
complete it. Again, when you go to you are doing early power. That is 450 megawatts.
So as things stand now, you've not added to our megawatt.
I am explaining. You are not listening.
No, I'm
I am
saying
saying that
that
when it comes to the
what-
Paralugu hydro and solar hybrid, we have done 45 out of the 50
Already?
megawatts already.
Okay.
Again, we have done, when you go to Tema, we are doing the early power, that is 450 megawatts. 50 of them is completed. The 400 will be completed by the end of 2024. Again, I'm not done. There are several
Please,
of them.
because of time,
The
let
time is going.
let's allow two of our friends. No.
Let me just do 10 seconds.
Let's allow
Let me just
two.
do 10
No,
seconds.
I'll let you wrap up. 0541022318.
I'm really dealing
Let's
with
make
me.
like 2 calls or 3 calls. You've listened
You're really
to
dealing with me,
the argument
but
of
that's okay.
Achi and Fuga. Where do you stand? Have you not changed your position? Maybe you had an original position before they came in. They have made all of them have made a solid. They have put forth a solid argument on the table. Which side do you belong? Do you still think that John Mahama is to be blamed for our doomsday situation? And do you also think, just like Archie is thinking, that the approach he even used in solving the thing was unnecessary? Let me see if I have. Okay, I think I've lost him. 0541 022318. If you're able to come through, I'll be happy to know what you make of this very interesting debate that we've had. We said that we're going to speak about other things, but because of time, I'm not too sure we can. Good morning. Good morning.
This is Yao. Yeah, Alpha, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Wrap up for us. You've listened to...
You see, ESLA is not a fund. ESLA is a law. Energy Sector Levy Act. ESLA. Stop deceiving Ghanaians. Alpha, why was Asogi denied gas supply during Mahama's time? Why was machines Kufuor bought to solve his problem, which Assamese maintained, sold to Sierra Leone by Mahama? Now they are saying that there was no generating capacity. You see, he went about to chasing Sheikh in Dubai, when Israel was giving us an offer that they could solve the problem within 6 months. He objected it, rejected it, and went to Dubai, chasing Sheikhs. Then now he brought this machine. This machine, they said they are emergency machines, which are within 5 years before they could bring this machine.
Okay, thank you very much. Because of time, thank you very much for coming through. Let me pick the last caller, and then I'll give my guest one minute to wrap up. 0541 022318. Do you have another caller? I think we've lost him. 0541 022318. And that's how you can try and, of course, join me and let me know what you make of. So before we go, actually, you have 1 minute. Wrap up for me, and then I'll go to Fuga. Yes.
Okay, so let me use that 1 minute to discuss the various capacity that we've added. So let me begin. So the early power at Tema, 400 megawatts, 200 is completed, and the rest will be completed by 2024. The Pualugu Hydro and Solar Hybrid is a 60 megawatt plant. We have done 50 already. The 10 will come on board very soon. And then under the Bui Power Authority, we are doing the Chachudro Micro Generation Station. That's a 45 megawatts of energy. We're also doing the 250 solar project. 50 of them is completed and it's already connected to the National Interconnected Transmission System. We're also doing a 5 megawatt floating solar PV, all under Bui. So these are installed capacities at very cheap prices that will come and then augment our installed capacity situation in the Republic.
Well, I think your last caller made mention of the fact that ESLA is not a fund, but it's an act. Yeah. You see, it's an act that establishes the fund. So this one is not even debatable. Now, it is clear that ESLA, as we are speaking, is the only source of funding that can be used to pay our legacy debt. But as we are speaking, ESLA has been collateralized to take an amount of $2.5 billion. I initially said $500 million, but that is wrong. The amount of money that the MPP government have taken is $2.5 billion to be paid back in 20 years. It was actually a bond that they floated on the stock market exchange. And that is why today, Asogli and other independent power producers are unable to receive their payment for the power that they are generating. My brothers sit here and talk about the fact that we don't have a problem when it comes to what? Generation capacity. Yes. But we have when it comes to what? Install capacity.
Generating the power.
Generating the power. Then why do you then add, if that is the position, if that is his position, why are you now saying that you have added? No, you are not paying what anything.
Committing any money like you did with your thermals. Thermals are expensive.
Wait. You understand the energy? You talk about energy diversity, and that's what John Mahama did. Because when John Mahama came, we were 90%. We were 90% dependent on hydro. We were 90% dependent on hydro as a country, and that's why those times when we had lights out, the ECG boss will come and say that the levels of Akosombo had dried up, and that is why Akosombo could not produce. No. That is why Akosombo could not produce to its highest capacity.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
So John Mahama, we are done, has solved the energy crisis. Now the power intermittent supply that we are challenge that we are currently having is because of the money that they owe the independent power producers like that. So today, Ameri is the property of Ghana. Are you aware? Property, Ameri is the property.
At this point, our listeners can't hear you guys, so let's leave it here. That's our show. It was
from Ameri. Today, Ameri is the property of
Yes,
Ghana.
how am I still making money?
Ameri is the property of Ghana as we are speaking. If you don't know, I'm telling you. Upon all the suffering that we went through, Ameri is the property of Ghana. And these are some of the things that we need to be doing as a country. I'm telling you, you cannot.
So let's leave it here. Let's leave it here. The show was produced by David Bache Viva. You heard from Archibald Jesse, Joshua Fuga, and you heard from Sosu and Abna. My name has been Alpha Ali. For now, that's our show. Thank you very much for doing the listening. Have a very good one.
Man, I've been fighting this battle with demons.